Week 11 of the Anti-Black Arts Club. We are exploring this book here. I am gonna run and go do something quickly, but hop on, chill out, grab some water, and fast forward. I'm gonna try to do a timestamp on when the conversation actually starts. Hey Jack, I'm just running off real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. How are you feeling? How are you doing? Oh, yay, you read it? I'm so happy. Okay. I'm happy. That's like one of my favorite essays. I love that I have a ton on mine. My favorite essays. But I love that I can go over my essays. Oh, I don't know. Can you hear me? My headphone might be connected. Hold on. Yeah, it's so funny. My headphones were connected. So wherever we're at in the time frame, I have to remind myself to fast forward. I'll work on it. Happy winter solstice! Ah! For those that are different hemisphere, happy summer solstice. But where I'm at currently in Philly, it is winter solstice, and I think I feel good about it. Normally, winter for me is just like it's not my favorite time of year. Fall is really where I thrive as a person, but we're here. We're gonna see how it goes. I'm very excited. So I'm gonna give like a few more minutes for people to hop on, and then we'll start. It's actually a really short chapter, like really, really short. So I think we're gonna breeze past this entire conversation. But I cannot believe that next week is gonna be 12 weeks. Like, how crazy is that? I'm so excited. All right. I'm just going over my notes really quickly. Okay, this works. I'm really excited. It's the last one for the series. And then I'll probably take like a break and then we'll jump back in. I'm deciding on what I want to do next for lives, but I love, how I feel about weekly lives, Jack. I love a weekly live. I love being able to chat with you guys every week and just check in, see how everybody's doing, see how everyone's feeling. I really love the flow and it feels super sustainable for me. So I would like to keep up with it. You know what I mean? I would like to keep up with it for sure. I just got to figure out what we're doing next because this series takes up a lot of like my writing. Like I have like two I have 2 after party notes that are coming out for like week 9 and week 10. So like, and again, I was just not satisfied with what was coming out. So I was like, look, I want quality always. So when they drop, they're gonna be really good. And diving into the neuroscience, the neuroaesthetics, diving into the beauty magic of it all, the dark feminine energy, like all of that's gonna be woven into there. So I'm taking my time with them. But I'm like, I'd rather give people who are paying that extra attention and juiciness, you know what I mean, than just putting something out just to put it out. But it's gonna be really good. And then I think I'll probably take a break up until like the full moon in January, because the first new moon, if I'm not mistaken, is the wolf moon, which is one of my favorite moons. Let me double check. I know it's in January. Cry with that morning. Yes, okay. So the full moon. Hi, how are you? The full moon is the wolf moon. It's the first full moon of the year in January. So that's probably when I'll start again. And that is, it's early in January. We'll see. Because the wolf moon usually gives me a lot of great insights. I feel very connected to that moon in particular, outside of the Scorpio full moon. So we'll see. But sometime in January, we'll start again. And then I'm not sure yet if I'm going to teach from Woman Who Run with the Wolves or what else. I feel like I want to lean more towards the end of January and then have time in January to kind of recycle some of the work I've already done, because a lot of my essays are like really good, really good. And I just kind of want to make sure people are having access to them and realizing. So I want to share a lot of what paid subscribers get, because I feel like paid subscribers don't know that they have access to all these backlogged essays that I've been writing for years. And then also show people what I plan to like bring into the table. So I'm really excited. I have some things in the works, but nothing is clear yet, and I'm okay with that. Hi. The notes have been deep and profound. Wolf moon. Yep, that figures I love it. Exactly. Like, it's one of my favorite moons. I live and I love moon work, moonology, and kind of going back to the basics of things like that. I feel like a lot of people don't know that I'm rooted in moonology, in tarot and astrology, ancestral. Like, these are things that are very deep and real and nuanced for me, and they're definitely a part of the work that I do on the Dark Divines, of like sharing that information and making it digestible. So yeah. Okay, update for Maxim. Update for Maxim. Okay. So Maxim reached out. They wanted me to still be a part of the contest, but I was gonna be a round behind. And I was just like, yeah, like, this was a cute run. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Maxim. So nice. But I also felt like I'm probably gonna write an essay on my experience, because I felt like I was giving a lot of attention to the contest and it was becoming less of a side quest and more of like a main priority. And though I appreciate being considered as a natural beauty for Maxim magazine, I think that's amazing. I also am like, I would like to put the same amount of effort in reminding people to check out my essays and my classes and, the stuff that I'm creating. So once I felt like it was kind of getting a bit more shine than what my work and my art is, I was like, ooh, I'm always down for a side quest. I'm always down for a plot twist, but not when it sacrifices the flow of what I've been putting out as an artist. Because to be a writer, to finally claim that as a title for myself, to move in that energy and not do it from a space of teaching, because I've always been a teacher, it was so refreshing. I don't want to get sidetracked. You know what I mean? I don't want to get taken off course, or what I believe to feel like I'm being taken off course, if that makes sense. Okay. Yes, that would be cool. An article on first. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna put an article out there. I have so many fun articles. Like, I can't wait to share everything that I've been writing. We're gonna have my goal is to have more fun too. So you'll see more from like the Lotus Life, which is my other Substack, where I talk about like my lifestyle, like how I actually live and breathe and work through the stuff that we talk about in the Dark Divines. The Dark Divines allows me to really dive into my essays, dive into like esoteric shit, like metaphysical, all that jazz. And then the Lotus Life is like, here are my favorite soup recipes because I love making soup. Like, I'm a soup girl. You guys should know this. So I'm excited to show the two sides of myself. I think a lot of people see me only as a teacher or as like a reverend or this spiritual authority, which I appreciate. I love because I've been working my ass off. So yeah, you should see those aspects. But I truly am a girl from the Bronx, a girl from New York City. I am very much both of those things. So I'm very excited to showcase that and share what that looks like for me. But I'm really excited about soups, y'all. I can't wait to talk about soup. But before we do that, we will be diving into this book here first and foremost, okay? So I feel like people will hop on when they need to. I feel like we have a good amount of people right now. Hi. And then we can just dive in. Oh, baby. Okay. Let me see if I can see if we can get Alexa to pause. You know how Alexa gets. I actually made a wheatgrass latte this morning because I am doing my best. I'm also a sustainable queen. I feel like people also don't know that about me. Like, I'm a sustainable girl. I very much am going to thrift first. I'm very much going to go to like a farmer's market or a local produce store to get what I need first and foremost before I go to like the bigger names and brands. I do my very best. Of course, I'm not 100% sustainable. That's a goal of mine, but I feel like that's a bit of perfectionism. But I do, for the majority of what I consume, it is recycled. It's communal, mutual aid and all that good stuff. So I look forward to sharing that aspect of myself too. I feel like that would be fun for people to know about me. But yeah, the wheatgrass is because with matcha has become this overconsumed superfood. Like acai happened, like avocado, we tend to just do too much. Once we got to lemon pepper matcha lattes, I knew it was time. I knew it was time. I knew it was time to wrap this up. And I've been drinking matcha for well over a decade. Well over a decade. So I plan on having a live for that too, just talking about my journey with matcha and some alternative ways to consume different things in hopes that we can is ceremonial. It's not supposed to be consumed like this. There's supposed to be intention, meditation. There's a whole philosophy and lifestyle that comes with it that a lot of people just don't give a fuck about. And yeah, we'll chat about that too. Lots to talk about. Okay. But the wheatgrass latte was really good. I had it with the Black Girl vitamins. They have a collagen. So I had the collagen in there with honey, cinnamon, almond milk, filtered water. It was really good. I enjoyed it. And I do think it gave me energy that I needed without it being caffeinated, which is great. I love that for me. Okay. Yes. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's unnecessary. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Like matcha's amazing, but I think we've done too much. I think we've gone too far, personally. You know? Black Girl Vitamins is a brand, and they do like daily vitamins and things like that. But my girlfriend gifted me the collagen, and I've been excited to try it. I'm a big collagen girly. I've been also taking collagen supplements since I was like 22, so over a decade for that too. I really am a beauty girl, but not in the way that a lot of people talk about it. I'm very much about eating your beauty, eating for beauty and things like that. That is where I thrive. That's my jam. I love doing that so much and making sure that I'm being mindful of what I put in my body so that I can get the results that I want. Because I know myself enough to know that my skill set and like putting on makeup, not the best. And I could do a little something, something, but that's not my ministry. You know what I'm saying? Putting on false lashes, I wish that I could be that type of girl. Unfortunately, I'm not. Unfortunately, God did not bless me with those gifts. So I have to find another way to still get the look that I want without taking my eye out. So I do that through eating and doing different things, using castor oil, all these things like that. So I plan on sharing more of that on the Lotus Life too, sharing like the things that I love about beauty because I feel like that's important. And I've been very hesitant about it too because I am a gatekeeper. I know people are gonna be like, "What?" Yes, I do gatekeep. I do. I do gatekeep. I know people are gonna probably try to stitch this video, whatever, and please do because I gatekeep. I do. I'm not sorry about it. I feel like some things are sacred. And if you're looking at it from the perspective of things being sacred, not keeping things just to yourself to be greedy. That is not, I'm not a greedy person. But I do think that certain things are sacred and that when you share information and you don't give a full picture to it, people just will grab at it because they see what you have and they want what you have, but they don't think about the intention that comes with it, you know? And that's something that I always try to do, especially like with the matcha thing. I try to, like, show the intentionality. Like, if you look at my podcast, the Matcha Mornings podcast, like, started literally a decade ago. You can see where I'm breaking down the philosophy, where I'm sharing insights from the culture, from when I sat with a tea master. Like, these are things that I did because I wanted to make sure that we weren't just consuming it for the benefits, but also, like, respecting where it comes from. And I'm like that with everything, especially when it comes to beauty. So, I gatekeep. There are certain things that I don't talk about on lives because I'm just like, if you know me in person, then I'll share that information. There should be levels to entry and the information that you share. I feel like just sharing shit to share shit because you want to go viral or sharing information that has been passed down to you because you want to be seen is not the best. I wouldn't do that. And I don't do that. I share because I feel like I've been called to share the information, sometimes reluctantly, or I share because I feel like it will really benefit the people that I'm in communion with. Otherwise, I'm keeping it to myself. But there are some things that I feel a little bit more open to sharing, at least the processes. I may not share the exact name brand because, again, every time that happens, things tend to get flooded out, and I still need to sustain it for myself and for my people. But yeah, I think that's important to remember. Like, you don't gotta share everything. It's okay to keep some things for yourself and for your people. I feel like that's something that's been going on a lot, especially like with hoodoo. People have just been sharing everything, and it's just there's a reason why it's oral. Yes, it's to share, but it's to share with people in direct communion with you, not random people you've never met in your life. But I digress. I'm I'm truly just a girl who practices spirituality. Okay? Yes, yeah, yeah. Yes, yes. I think gatekeeping, depending on the culture as well, is super important. Super, super important. Okay. So I'm gonna go over the three essays that we're gonna be talking about for week 11. I like the playlist that I have. I'm so happy right now. Okay. So week 11 is called Recovering a Sense of Autonomy. And the three essays that we have are Acceptance, Success, Zen of Sports. And then there's a short essay. Technically, it's four essays on creating an altar as an artist, building your artist's altar. So those are the four essays that we'll be talking about today. I did a lot of editing for the Zen of Sports because a lot of it was just like, girl, we could have said this in two or three sentences. We need to give seven different you guys know I'm really about making esoteric things digestible, and that's what I did in that essay because I was like, "Girl, this is just so much information that says the exact same thing, but now I feel confused." You know? When people give you too many metaphors or too many analogies and you're like, "Wait, you had me on the first one, even the second one, now we're on the sixth analogy." And I'm like, What are we what are you telling me? What does this mean?" So that's what I felt like. So I edited that essay down. That essay is very short now. And then we'll just chat. You know, if there's some time afterwards, I'm definitely down to talk about winter solstice and see what's coming up for people. I'm always down for that. Usually I do like a winter solstice ceremony or things like that. But this year I'm like, I was already gonna be live for week 11. We'll just chat about it if we have time to chat about it. If not, that's also okay too. Okay. I know. Hopefully by the time we get to the sports one, Sierra will be here because I literally thought about her when I was bidding it, like, oh, she's gonna have so much insight for this. Like, I'm so excited. But you know, she can always watch the replay and let us know about her genius too. I'm always okay with that as well. Okay, so let's start reading. Okay, week 11. This week we focus on our artistic autonomy. We examine the ongoing ways in which we must nurture and accept ourselves as artists. We explore the behaviors that can strengthen our spiritual base and therefore our creative power. We take a special look at the ways in which success must be handled in order that we not sabotage our freedom. Recovering a sense of autonomy. The first essay, acceptance. I am an artist. As an artist, I may need a different mix of stability and flow from other people. I may find that the 9 to 5 job steadies me and leaves me freer to create. Or I may find that a 9 to 5 drains me of energy and leaves me unable to create. I must experiment with what works for me. An artist's cash flow is typically erratic. No law says we must be broke all the time, but the odds are good we may be broke some of the time. I just want to pause and just put a call to action for my artist. Please claim abundance. That struggling artist archetype that so many of us feed into. I forget what that is, that when we collectively do that. There's a word for it. And I forgot what the word is. But like when we're collectively feeding into something that's not beneficial to us, we don't have to continue to do that. Okay. That's really important to remember. You don't have to claim the energy of broke. Okay. Just because you're an artist. Please. We're going to talk about that a little bit more, about the difference between poverty mindset and money mindset, because I think that's very important. And a lot of artists do not learn that until it is too late to learn it. And then they're sitting there wondering why they have to struggle with what they did. There's a time and a place for that. We're going to talk about it, but I just want to make sure that she said that. I don't agree with it. Okay. We're not claiming the spirit of brokenness over us. Absolutely not. All right. Good work will sometimes not sell. People will buy but not pay promptly. The market may be rotten even when the work is great. I cannot control these factors. Being true to the inner artist often results in the work that sells, but not always. Okay. Sorry, it's my family chat. um I have to free myself from determining my value and the value of my work by my work's market value. The idea that money validates my credibility is very hard to shake. If money determines real art, then famous artists are charlatans. As an artist, I may never have a home that looks like town and country, or I may. On the other hand, I may have a poem of books, a song, a piece of performance, art, a film. I must learn that as an artist, my credibility lies with me, God, and my work. In other words, if I have a poem to write, I need to write that poem, whether it sells or not. And that's very important, to put your art out there, regardless if people are consuming it or not. When you're getting that idea from the conscious collective, from the creative consciousness, it is for you to share, whether that means you're sharing the idea with someone else so they can fulfill it or you're fulfilling it yourself. It's not about if it's going to go viral or not. It's not about if you're going to sell out stadiums or not. I know that that feels motivational. And as artists, we're constantly like, that's what we're looking for. We're closing our eyes. We're thinking of a stadium full of people singing our songs or chanting our words, leaning into us. And we're really thinking about energy harvesting, but I digress. I digress. But I do think it's important for us to remember that you're allowed to just share your art because it's your art and it should be shared. Stop adding a price tag to your art. It's going to stress you the fuck out. Don't do that. Right? Hi, Sia. Okay. I need to create what wants to be created. I cannot plan a career to unfold in a sensible direction dictated by cash flow and marketing strategies. Those things are fine, but too much attention to them can stifle the child within, who gets scared and angered when continually put off. Children, as we all know, do not deal well with later, not now. They don't. You should actually express why later. Like they're children, they don't know better. All right. Since my art is a child, the natural child within, I must make some concessions to its sense of timing. Some concessions does not mean total irresponsibility. What it means is letting the artist have quality time, knowing that if I let it do what it wants to do, it will cooperate with me in doing what I need to do. Sometimes I will write badly, draw badly, paint badly, perform badly. I have a right to do that to get to the other side. Creativity is its own reward. I want to pause here really quickly and I talked about this. I have a Lotus Love Note on the Lotus Life side of my Substack where I share the importance of like doing shit, even if it's cringy. Like And the more you do it, the less cringy you feel about it. Like, I don't feel cringy about the stuff that I make. I can look back at things way, way long ago, and I'm pretty satisfied with what I put out there. Sometimes I'm really in awe because I'm just like, wow, girl, you're really out here. You're doing it. You're doing it. I love this for you. But do things badly. Do things badly. And if you really are like, girl, I hear you and I feel you, but I will not be doing that. Do those things badly privately then. They don't have to be out in the open. You don't have to fail epically, publicly all the time for validation. That's not necessary. Like with my singing journey, that's a very private thing. I do that with me and my vocal instructor who we're locked in. Shout out Roxy. Okay. I do it for like my family and things like that. Places where I feel safe enough that if I am failing, if I am off key, if I am a little pitchy, the feedback is through love. It's not through critique, or someone just trying to rip me down because they're upset that I want to be a singer, or they wish they could sing and whatever that is. I'm not doing all of that. That's unnecessary for me personally. However, what I think is very important is for you to still try it anyway, because you're not going to be perfect off the bat. This also leads into perfectionism. Thinking that as soon as you decide you're going to do something, it's going to be amazing is dangerous and it's going to always cause you to stop the flow of your creativity. You're not going to want to move forward in your journey simply because it doesn't come out perfect the minute you do it. You have to build on that. Whether you are painting, whether you are illustrating, whether you are drawing or cooking, you have to practice. Not every meal is going to be amazing. But I will say after a while when you are in the flow of practice, things start to taste and feel and look better every single time. You get to refine. You get to refine and have more nuance. That is also completely possible in your journey as an artist. And I don't want us to forget that or get so caught up in trying to come off as like a master of the field or the art that we're expressing that we forget that we're also students. Let me know if that makes sense. Yeah, perfectionism can be paralyzing. I agree. 100%. Yes. Got to speak life and love over ourselves. Always, always. Okay. As an artist, I must be very careful to surround myself with people who nurture my artist, not people who try to overly domesticate it for my own good. Certain friendships will kick off my artistic imagination, and others will deaden it. I may be a good cook, a rotten housekeeper, a strong artist. I am messy, disorganized, except as it pertains to writing, a demon for creative detail, and not real interested in details like polished shoes or floors. Again, releasing that need to be perfect at everything, right? I often joke that I'm a great herbalist, but I'm a shitty gardener. It's really insane how I struggle to keep plants alive. But I can like make a tea for you that will help you. I feel like that duality is super important to remember. You don't have to be good at everything at all. You're allowed to like be human and fail at things. That's also okay. Okay. To a large degree, my life is art, and when it gets dull, so does my work. As an artist, I may poke into what other people think of as dead ends, a punk band that I mysteriously fall for. I love when that happens, actually. A piece of gospel music that hooks my inner ear, a piece of red silk I just like and adds to my outfit, thereby ruining it. As an artist, I may frizz my hair or wear weird clothes. I may spend too much money on perfume in a pretty blue bottle, even though the perfume smells bad because the bottle lets me write about Paris in the 30s. As an artist, I write whether I think it's any good or not. I shoot movies other people may hate. I sketch bad sketches to say, I was in this room, I was happy. It was May, and I was meeting somebody I wanted to meet. As an artist, my self respect comes from doing the work, one performance at a time, one gig at a time, one painting at a time. 2.5 years to make one 90-minute piece of film, 5 drafts of one play, 2 years working on a musical. Throughout it all, daily, I show up at the morning pages and I write about my ugly curtains, my rotten haircut, my delight in the way the light hits the tree on the morning run, right? This is a question that I wrote down for myself and I want to ask you guys too. When you are creating art, are you showing up for your art or for others? Very important to ask yourself when you're making something. So when I write my essays on Substack, my two questions are, am I does is this something that younger me would want to read? And does it honor my ancestors? Those are my criteria. My third one is like, will it be valuable to my community. And I say that hesitantly because I find that if I am taking care of what younger Lotus needed, and if I'm honoring my ancestors, it tends to always resonate with my community because my community is like they're part of my soul group. We're just locked in like that. It's very rare where people give me feedback that's like, I didn't need this. That's also the importance of moving with intention and understanding when to share and when something is just for you. But asking yourself, are you showing up for your art or for others is really important because that can be the reason why you don't put something out there that ends up being super cringe or really insensitive and inconsiderate because you were trying to go viral, right? And you were trying to be, I don't know, get verified or get that brand deal instead of seeing if it was really something that you need to share on your heart. These things are important to remember as artists. And I feel like a lot of us lose the plot because we are reaching for fame instead of success. And we talked about what the difference is between those two in last week's session. So keep that in mind. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm always like, does it honor me? And does it honor my ancestors? If it's a double yes, I'm good. If it's a no on either side, I will pause. I'll probably put a pin in it and revisit it and see how I feel about it afterwards. Okay. This song is so pretty. Sorry, guys. I hear a song and I'm like, do I want this song in my life? Okay, I do. All right, cool. Uh. As an artist, I do not need to be rich, but I do need to be richly supported. I prefer both. Okay. I cannot allow my emotional, intellectual life to stagnate or the work will show it. My life will show it. My temperament will show it. If I don't create, I get crabby. Very, very true. Very, very true. As someone who practices dark feminine energy and moving in that realm, I find for myself that when I don't have an outlet for my darkness, it will seep out in other spaces. That's not like the best place for it to be. So I am actively looking for spaces to safely and intentionally release rage, anger, to show my teeth, to sharpen my claws is necessary because I'm a dual person. We need to have that space. It can't just be all the pretty things and all the light things. It has to also have a space for that ugliness, that darkness, because it exists. I'm not going to ignore it. That's how we live in half our power. As an artist, I can literally die from boredom. I disagree. I think boredom is super healthy, for your brain. Boredom is important. As a teacher, I've often told my students that when they come to me, they're like, "Oh, I'm so bored, Miss Flower. I'm bored. I'm bored." I'm like, "That's amazing. Oh my gosh, you're bored. That's incredible. In this day and age, you being bored is amazing. Let your brain rest. Go stare at a wall. Totally into that. Boredom allows your brain to reset. Your brain needs time to do that. You're taking in information all the fucking time. All the time. When you're on your phone, you're taking information. Whether it's the colors, the patterns that you see, the words, the voices that you hear, whatever it is, you're taking in information all the time. You're taking information when you hear sounds from outside, when you hear the train in the background, or when you're listening to someone else's conversation when you shouldn't be. When you're in the train, that's just that type of information. Then you're taking in energetic information. When you come by somebody and their energy feels a little weird and crazy, and your body to process that. We're in constant, especially you live in a city, you're taking information all the time and you don't have a lot of time to reset unless you're intentionally going to nature and connecting in that way. You're going to feel overwhelmed. Boredom is a great way to reset. If you find yourself bored, consider yourself a very lucky person and take that time to feel through the boredom. I disagree with her on that kind of being go, go, go energy. That's where her and I differentiate, and you're going to see that in some upcoming language too. I disagree with that. Boredom is a good thing. Okay. I kill myself when I fail to nurture my artist child because I am acting like someone else's idea of an adult. The more I nurture my artist child, the more adult I am able to appear. Spoiling my artist means it will let me type a business letter. Ignoring my artist means a grinding depression. Yes, but also like don't be enslaved to your inner artist. There should be some type of harmonious dynamic between you two. There's a connection between self nurturing and self respect. I allow myself to be bullied and cowed by other people's urges for me to be more normal or more nice. I sell myself out. There may be, sorry, let me look at this again. My notes are here. They may like me better, feel more comfortable with more conventional appearance or behavior, but I will hate myself. Hating myself, I may lash out at myself and others. If I sabotage my artist, I can well expect an eating binge, a sex binge, a temper binge. Okay. Check the relationship between these behaviors for yourself. When we are not creating, artists are not always very normal or very nice to ourselves or to others. This is again, stop looking for validation from other people. Just stop. You know, don't do that. Just, it's not necessary. You don't have to live for other people. You can live for yourself. I don't know if you've heard that before. Some people need to hear these things because they're like, what? What do you mean? Like, this is your life. So when those people are no longer in your life, it's just you. So if you are unhappy in your life, you're not living it for yourself, you're living it for somebody else. And that's always going to feel uncomfortable for you. You're never going to feel satiated. You're never going to feel happy because you're worried about people who don't live in your head, in your mind, or in your spirit, or in your body. To a certain extent, those people don't matter. Let me know if that makes sense. Because sometimes I get a little like scorpionic with my language, but it's also really valid and true. Okay? I never want you to get to the point where you're hating yourself because you're trying to please all these people outside of you. Don't let anything get you to that point where you hate yourself. No, not for nobody on this earth. Absolutely not. Creativity is oxygen for the soul. Cutting off creativity makes us savage. We react like we are being choked. There's a real rage that surfaces when we interfere with. Sorry, her writing sometimes is so unnecessary. There's a real rage that surfaces when we are interfered with on a level that involves picking lint off of us and fixing us up. When well-meaning parents and friends push marriage or 9 to 5 or anything on us that doesn't evolve in a way that allows for our art to continue, we will react as if we are fighting for our lives because we are. To be an artist is to recognize the particular, to appreciate the peculiar, to allow a sense of play in your relationship to accepted standards, to ask the question why. To be an artist is to risk admitting that much of what is money, property, and prestige strikes you as just a little silly. I agree. I think that there needs to be a healthy dissociation between capitalism and artistry. And a lot of us have been raised to believe that they go hand in hand, right? Your favorite artist has like 7 different businesses because they need to survive. It's their livelihood. And they have a different level of wealth that they need to sustain now because they are a celebrity. But outside of celebrity culture, other artists can live in harmony and have their needs met for their livelihood and their survival and it not be deeply rooted in capitalism. And I want us to remember that those things also exist. Just because we don't see them all the time doesn't mean they don't exist. An example that I would give, because she teeters between celebrity culture and being an artist, is Solange. Solange is someone that many of us know. We know her because her sister is like a megastar, right? But Solange really does live her life as an artist. She doesn't do the overconsumption. She's not selling you a whole bunch of different things. A lot of times, the reason why um, when she does put something out, it sells out instantly because it's very rare that she does, right? When she did her cup collection, her glassware collection, it sold out like that because we don't know when we're going to get something from Solange again, you know? She'd just be in and out because she's an artist. She's creating art when we don't see her. She's not about constantly selling us things, which means that she has gotten to a point where her livelihood and her survival is not at the forefront. It's well secured and it's sustainable, and she can continue to move through life as an artist. There are other artists that do that too. I just wanted to put that out because I feel like she's very popular because of that. People love the fact that she has like an entire life, but is still somehow a celebrity, right? Still somehow an artist. And it just shows what's possible for us, that we don't have to have that level of transparency in our lives or be that rooted in capitalism to live a good life and to still be an artist and share our art. We don't have to consistently put shit out every quarter, every week, every day. because that's not how art works. Let me know if that makes sense. Hi, Lucia. How are you? She seems to flow with what's inside. Yeah. She's rooted in her artistry. And granted, she probably has a leg up because again, she was a bit of a pop star, right? She has some type of celebrityism, but ultimately, Solange moves like an artist. Where you see her art when it's ready to be seen, you're fine, you're right on time. But when you don't need to, when she's ready to go create, she's gonna go create. I love that. And I feel like we need to remember that people like that exist. We don't need to always reach for that level of stardom where everyone's in our business or when everything we do, we're like a walking billboard. Like we don't need to do that. It's not necessary. We don't have to um, turn our art into this endless marketplace for capitalism to benefit off of. Okay? To be an artist is to acknowledge the astonishing. It is to allow the wrong piece in the right. It is allowed. I'm having a day. It is to allow the wrong piece in a room if we like it. It is to hang on to a weird coat that makes us happy. It is to not keep trying to be something that we aren't. If you are happier writing than not writing, painting than not painting, singing than not singing, acting than not acting, directing than not directing, for God's sake, and I mean that literally, let yourself do it. To kill your dreams because they are irresponsible is to be irresponsible to yourself. Credibility lies with you and God, not with a vote of your friends and acquaintances. The Creator made us creative. Our creativity is our gift from God. Our use of it is our gift to God. Accepting this bargain is the beginning of true self acceptance. Whew, okay. I got to plug up my phone really quickly so that it doesn't die. There we go. Switch it out. Cool. Better. All right. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. So, first essay was on acceptance. Like I said, it was a short essay, really good, very necessary. Now we're going to get into the essay on success. This was a really good essay. So then we'll get into the Zen of Sports. I'm hoping that by the time we get to Zen of Sports, Sierra's here with us. Fingers crossed, y'all. Bring her in. Bring her in. Okay. I'm going to disagree with her in this essay. I'm telling you that right now. We definitely disagree, like off the bat. But I feel like we find our place. Okay. Yes. Yes, 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 please do. Okay. Success. Creativity is a spiritual practice. 100%. It is not something that can be perfected, finished, and set aside. It is my experience that we reach plateaus of creative attainment only to have a certain restlessness set in. Yes, we are successful. Yes, we have made it, but in other words, just when we get there disappears. Dissatisfied with our accomplishments, however lofty, we are once again confronted with our creative self and its hungers. The questions we have just laid to rest now rear their heads again. What are we going to do now? This unfinished quality, this restless appetite for future exploration tests us. We are asked to expand in order that we not contract. Invading this commitment, an invasion that tempts us all, leads straight to stagnation, discontent, spiritual discomfort. Can't I rest, we wonder? In a word, the answer is no. Full stop. That's where she lost me. That's where she lost me. Especially as a Black woman, you you gotta rest. You have to rest. And when she talks about creative plateaus, this is where nuance comes in culture. Because in Women Around the Wolves, uh, Dr. Estes talks about creative plateaus as well. And the difference is how you look at it. Same thing, but different outcomes. So Dr. Estes looks at plateaus where it is you've been going up the mountain, right? Doing this work, moving through the shadow work, whatever. You get to a plateau. The plateau is meant for you to rest. Can you imagine have to only doing this for the rest of your life? Do you know how exhausting that is? Continuously going up steps? That's why there are plateaus when you take steps. Just for it to just keep going and going and going, it breaks you. It breaks you. Okay? On that plateau, you rest. You take in the scenery, take in the environment. Oh, wow, look how far I've come. I'm so proud of myself. Look where I came from. You get a time to orient yourself. See how your new muscles are looking and feeling for you. Tend to any wounds that you may have had along the journey up to where you ended up at, right? And then once you have rejuvenated yourself, once you have rested, then you go on to the next thing. You're still going up, but that plateau is super important. Whereas Julia is talking about it where it's like this dangerous thing. You got to get at the plateau as soon as possible. Otherwise, you'll get stagnant. You'll stay there forever. It's all about mindset. It's all about mindset. And it's also about understanding culture. Because I do feel like because Julia has like this Eurocentric white background, for her, it's like, no, you gotta keep going. That bootstrap kind of mentality comes out a lot and is very dangerous. And it actually leads into capitalism, which she seems to be against, but maybe she doesn't realize how deeply rooted it is. I don't know. I don't know Julie like that. But from her writing, it's like you don't believe in capitalism, especially as an artist. However, you want artists to not get comfortable with resting. Like, which one is it? So I want to give that frame of mind when we talk about that ability to have a creative plateau. It is super freaking important. You need to accept the fact that you've plateaued. It doesn't mean you hit a wall and you've lost your mojo or whatever. It means your ass is tired. You reached a level of success that you should enjoy. Go explore the plateau. Go see what's growing, see what's happening, see if there's other people that you can meet and connect with because you're never going to build the intentional relationships that you need if you are constantly doing this. You don't have the time to. You're exhausted, you're out of breath. You're hyper focused on doing this so you don't fall behind. There's no time for you to actually embrace the humanity of the experience if you do not allow yourself to lean in and rest. Okay? Super important to remember. When I read that, I was like, girl, I felt like you just did weeks of work. Like, no, rest. Allow yourself to rest, especially if you're a Black woman, especially if you are queer, if you are a part of the community, Black and brown folks. We need to rest. Y'all, we need rest. We cannot keep going through that mindset that it's just hustle and grind till we die. We can sleep when we're dead. That is super, it's just an ugly way to live. I don't want us to live like that. Okay? Another thing that I gave was these two understandings of resting. So there's resting from the perspective of Trisha from the Nap Ministry, who I absolutely love. Shout out my big sis. Slowing down enough to feel nourished and out of sync with society, but in alignment with source. So that's my wording, but that's essentially what Trisha teaches us all the time. Like slow down so you can like live. You can live life. You can rest. You can check in with your intuition. You can dream more. You can have sound sleep. You can wake up and be in tune with your body. Your mind is not racing all the time. You're not sleep deprived. That's super important. That is the essence of life. That is something that we all should desire and allow ourselves to experience. Trisha has been saying this for years. What I'm saying right now is nothing new. She's speaking to ancestral technology, that's rest is ancestral technology, period. It is something that will keep you in alignment. And honestly, it will protect you. When you're well rested, baby, the decisions that you make are profound. The people you keep around you, you'll know when something's up. You're not going to be like, oh, well, I'm tired, so I'm not sure if it's just me or if it's them. You'll be like, oh, no, baby, it's you. You got to go. I'm well rested. I'm in my right mind and I'm fully in my body. You and I are not on the same, we're not in the same level. And that's okay. You got to go. You can only do that if you're well rested. You can only make decisions with the level of confidence needed to succeed in life if you are well rested. Now, what I assume Julia is talking about in this book, because it's an assumption, because again, I don't know this woman like that, is that when you're resting, you're not sharpening the saw and you're staying stagnant. So there's this concept from Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. I think it's habit 7, sharpening the saw, right? And it's about the fact that once you have done these things to really center who you are as a person and how you're going to be a leader, you need to continue learning and growing and healing. You don't just stop there. So once you graduate with your degree, that's not the end of it. You still need to learn. You still need to update. Depending on your field, you might do that yearly because there are new things coming out all the time, right? With EFT, I had my certification over 6 years ago, but every year I attend this conference so I can learn more about what's happening in EFT. If there's new language that we need to consider, right? Is there new technique? Same thing with trauma-informed studies. I'm constantly looking at these things, but I'm not doing it to the point where I'm not resting my mind and my body. I'm doing it so I can stay sharp because I know that if I'm on point, if I'm sharp, my community is safe. It also means I have less backlash. Because people will understand that I know what I'm talking about, that I'm ever evolving. That's very important. I feel like that's what she meant by that sentence, but I feel like if you don't have nuance to understand that, you're going to assume that you have to continuously work and not rest. And I want to just make sure that that's very clear for anyone on this journey. I feel like these are the pockets in the book where people really struggle, and that's why a lot of people have an undesirable experience with this book in particular, because there are things that I feel like she should have gone into detail about, and she just chose to leave it up for interpretation. And that's not always necessary. Okay? Let me know if this makes sense to you. So good when you nuance a book like this. Oh, yeah, I'm so happy. Yeah. Very important. I was like, girl, I don't agree with you on this. And I have no problem. I'm a very confrontational person. I have no problem. I'm also well spoken for the most part. Sometimes it gets a little crazy. But if I need to express why I don't agree with something, I know that I can do so confidently and that I'm not coming from this egotistical place. It's just like, this doesn't make any sense to me. And I will give the opportunity for that other person to make it make sense to me if I'm open to it. There's certain things I'm just not going to argue with you about, like racism, sexism. I'm not doing that. It's a no for me. I don't care how you frame it. There are things that are a no, but things that I'm more open to, absolutely, I will definitely check in and see where that point of view is coming from. I think confrontation is healthy and necessary if you know how to confront situations. I'm confronting the conversation, the topic, not the person per se. I feel like people don't do that. They go straight for the person. And I'm looking at the idea. Even if it is coming from you, I'm looking at the idea first. That's me. All right. Anyway, something else I don't agree with, but I'm going to just read it and then we can go into it. As artists, we are spiritual sharks. Don't fully agree with that statement. The ruthless truth is that if we don't keep moving, we sink to the bottom and die. Super dramatic. Don't agree. I feel like sometimes if you don't keep moving, and if we're talking about being in the water, we would just float. We don't have to be sharks. We can just be human beings and can just float. Enjoy the sky, the sun, hearing the waves, the water, and look at the fish. Again, some things don't have to be so black and white. Sometimes about reframing. I don't think that that is a thing. That just adds on unnecessary pressure to your experience. Feeling the need to, like, I'm gonna die if I don't do this. It's like you're gonna die regardless, whether you do it or not. Death is for certain. Like, I know that sounds very grim. It might be like, whoa, death isn't like the only thing you're guaranteed in life. Like, you're going to die at some point. That is, throw that in the background. That's irrelevant. Honestly, it's gonna happen when it happens. It's not gonna happen because of this though. You know, sometimes it's just so dramatic. Where I'm like, girl, I'm a drama queen. I live for drama, but it has to make sense. If it's gonna just cause more stress for people, that's not why we do that. We do it to entertain, to embellish, not to endanger someone's psyche into thinking that if they don't create enough super fast, they're going to die. Crazy. All right. The choice is very simple. We can insist on resting on our laurels, or we can begin anew. The stringent requirement of a sustained creative life is a humility to start again, to begin anew. It is a willingness to once more be a beginner that distinguishes a creative career. A friend of mine, a master in his field, finds himself uncomfortably committed years in advance of his availability. He is in an inevitable position on a business level, but he finds it increasingly perilous to his artistic health. When the wheel turns and the project he committed to 3 years ago must be executed, he can do it with imagination and his initial enthusiasm. The honest answer is often an uncomfortable no. And so, at great financial cost, he has begun cutting back his future commitments, investing in the riskier, more rewarding gain of artistic integrity. Not all of us always can muster such creative courage in the face of fiscal temptation, but we can try. We can at least be willing. As artists, we are travelers, too heavily encumbered by our worldly dignity, too invested in our station and positions, we are unable to yield to our spiritual leadings. We insist on a straight and narrow when the artist's way is a spiral path. Invested in the outer trappings of a career, we can place the investment above our inner guidance. Deciding to play by the numbers, we lose our commitment to counting ourselves and our own goals worthy. So essentially, this is very long-winded. And honestly, I feel like I should have edited this part out too. It's important that when you are showing up for your artistic journey and you have a professional life that's paying these bills, you have to make sure that it makes sense for you. Because if the thing that's paying your bills is going to drain you of your energy to create, you might want to find something different to do to pay your bills because you still need to create your art and it's going to start siphoning from that. Right? It's important to plan ahead on these things. That's essentially what she just said. I feel like I just wasted my time rereading that. But hopefully that helps somebody. And then also understanding too that it's not an A to B, B to C, that we are cyclical beings. I know people like to think that it's just from one point to another point. That is very patriarchal in mindset and super dangerous. We're cyclical. We're going to come back to something with new experience, and then we see if we're ready to make a change in the habit or the decision that was made prior to. And that's how we learn, and we spiral upwards for the most part. Some people spiral down, but for the most part, you're spiraling upwards. It just takes hindsight to realize that and see that. A lot of times people think that they're hitting the same point over and over again because they're not learning a lesson. And that's not true. Lessons are super nuanced, they're layered. There could be a reason why you keep going to that same predicament because you have new information to take hold of that, to see what you need to decipher or receive from the experience again. Now you have more confidence or more life lived. Okay? Creativity is not a business, although it may generate much business. An artist cannot replicate a prior success indefinitely. Those who attempt to work too long for the formula, even their own formula, eventually leach themselves of their creative truths. Embedded as we often are in business of our art, it is attempting to guarantee what we cannot deliver. Good work that duplicates the good work that has gone before. So essentially, understand that you're going to try new things, and that's okay. The same thing is not going to always work to benefit you. Sometimes you've done all you could do with this one thing, this one way you've expressed art, and now it's time to move forward and do something different. And having the courage to know when to let go of something is super important, and having the discernment to know when to let go of something is super important. You need both. You need the courage and the discernment. Because if you're brave, but you don't know when to let go, you might let go too early, right? And if you only have discernment and you know you should let go, but you're not brave enough to let it go, you're going to hold on to it until it's dead in the water. So you do need both aspects in order to know when to move forward from a creative project. Okay. Successful movies generate a business demand for sequels. Successful books generate a demand for further similar books. Painters pass through popular periods in their work and may be urged to linger there. For potters, composers, choreographers, the problem is the same. As artists, we are asked to repeat ourselves and expand on the market we have built. Sometimes this is possible for us, other times it is not. As a successful artist, the trick is to not mortgage the future too heavily. If the house in the Hamptons cost 2 years of creative misery, cranking out a promised project just for cash, that house is an expensive luxury. Essentially, become financially literate. Okay. Like, understand how money works so you can know what you want to put your time and energy towards. Very important. All artists should be financially literate. And if you're not, you should learn how to become one. One, so that you don't misuse your genius or your time. Because you may not see how valuable you are, but I promise you, the person that's offering that opportunity, they understand that you're a powerhouse. And depending on their level of morality, they're okay with leeching you until you're dry, and it's going to let them look good. So it's important for you to have a sense of financial literacy and also have a healthy understanding of how energy works, being like energetically literate. is important as well. It's why I teach what I teach, because I want people to understand their energy and when they can wield it and how they can wield it to create a life that they really love. It's really important to know that. Because if you understand how your energy works, if you understand your value, you're going to look at opportunities completely different. You're not going to come from a space of desperation where it's like, oh my God, they see me and I want to prove them right. You could be like, oh wow, they see me. Let me look and see why they see me. Okay, great. You see how valuable I am. You want to tap into my network, right? To my community, because my community can bring you more money. Great. Now let me look at these numbers again and make sure that makes sense for me. Because you're not only getting access to me, you're getting access to the people that have come on this journey with me. And I genuinely believe as an artist, it is a part of your ethical ecosystem to make sure that before you start sharing products and insights, things like that, that it's also good for you and for your people. That is why I struggle with brand deals personally, because there are a lot of brands that reach out to me where I'm like, I don't like your brand. I think that you do horrible shit, or you don't care about Black people. Why are you reaching out to me? Don't do that, because you're gonna give me money. So now I'm gonna tell the other Black people in my community to buy your shit, and I know you don't care about whether we live or die, or I know you're funding different groups that harm us directly. As an artist, you also need to have the ability to have courage to say, like, I'm good. Does that require me having another way to pay things financially? Yes, right? This is why I also teach part-time, because I want to have the ability to walk away from shitty situations if need be. That's a part of my creative freedom, that I don't have to keep a brand deal simply because it's going to pay my rent or my food. I can walk away because I'm like, you're not respecting me or my people. And I'm very fortunate to do that, but I do hope that other creators start doing that too, whether you're Black or not, like making sure that you're not promoting companies that are harmful to the environment, that are harmful to other communities, that are funding genocide. Like, there's so many ways in the world to make money, to have abundance and prosperity, physically and energetically. You can align with those companies that will respect who you are and your morality. Just doing things for a check is why the world is in peril right now. My thoughts. Okay. Some books I want to suggest for people who want to become financially literate and you are creative. Um, Soul Currency is a really good book. I talk about that book all the time. At some point next year, I'm hoping to do like a money series on how I really heal my money mindset and how I continue to do it, because it is a continuous cycle. But Soul Currency is a really great book. Another book is Psychology of Money. I think it's a really great book to just understand how people look at money. And then my favorite one is We Should All Be Millionaires. I love that book. So good, especially for Black women. It helps you understand why you need to have money, and money needs to be a focus for you, because you need capital so that you can pour into the communities that may be underserved or underlooked, or overlooked, excuse me, so that you can continue to heal and support people who look like you and who have gone through struggles that you may have endured. Super important. Love those books. Again, Soul Currency, Psychology of Money, and We Should All Be Millionaires are really great books to begin your financial literacy, because they talk about the energy of money as well as the physical aspects of gaining money. And you need both. Just knowing how to make money is not enough. You need to also be able to um, know how to manage it energetically. And the best example that I can give, sorry guys, one second. Okay. The best example that I can give is when people hit the lottery and then they're like broke or they're worse off financially like a year or two later, is because they have popped their energetic container. They don't have any, their energetic hygiene is dismal. So when they got that big windfall of abundance, they didn't know what to do with it because they were financially illiterate and they didn't know how to manage their energy. So they popped their container, it overflowed, and they didn't know where to put that overflow. And they siphoned so much of themselves that they ended up worse off than they were. So if you plan on being really wealthy, you should start focusing in on being financially literate, whether that's learning taxes or what bracket your business needs to be in, because not everything is an LLC. There are things that you need to learn and know about. And if you realize, like, these are things that I'm not really interested in, but I do need to know them, then finding a relationship where that person can handle those aspects and you can focus it on your art is super important too. And having again, leaning into that, I keep saying duality because it's so important, but leaning into that dual energy. So for me, I have what I do for my livelihood to survive, and then I have what I do for my art. They are separate because I've tried to intertwine them personally and it drove me crazy. Relying on my art to feed me and for my survival brought me to a really ugly place I didn't enjoy being in. It created unnecessary struggle for me. So I now have something that pays my bills and then I have things that bring in abundance and that allow me to express my art. And for me, it works for the season that I'm in, having those two things be separate. At some point in time, as I move into the future, they may come together, but when they do, I will have the ability to better understand and manage the energy that's needed and also the knowledge that's needed so that I can move through the abundance and the finances a lot better. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Hmm. This is not to say that editors should stop planning seasons or that studios should scuttle their business bottom line. It is to say that many creatives laboring in fiscal settings should remember to commit themselves not only to projects that smack of the sure thing, but also to those riskier projects that call to their creative souls. You don't need to overturn a successful career in order to find creative fulfillment. It is necessary to overturn each day's schedule slightly to allow for those small adjustments in daily trajectory that, over a long haul, alter the course and the satisfactions of our career. So don't give up your 9 to 5 so that you can pursue being an artist full time if that's going to cause you to struggle unnecessarily. And we talked about that, I feel like in week 6, maybe, about how dangerous that can be. And that's a dream. That's how you romanticize struggle. And we're not doing that anymore. That's just weird. We're not romanticizing struggle at all. Okay. Instead, look at your day to day and see where you can infuse in more art. That's it. Yeah. A lot of people romanticize struggle. I can't tell you. The only thing I could tell you is that I feel like people do that because of media, because we watch a lot of movies where people are struggling and then because they just give it their all, of a sudden they become wealthy and mega rich. A lot of celebrity stories are encapsulated in that same structure of like we were poor and then it took off. But when you go into the details, you realize like it took them a long time to get there, and they were actually going through all these other iterations of themselves before they got to the self that you see and that you know and you love, which is important. And the reason why we need to have critical thinking and to be able to research so that you don't allow what you're seeing on video or in media to tell you that that's the truth of life for you, especially because what works for someone else may not work for you. That's okay too. Okay. So she says here, like talking about morning pages, things like that. I'm just going to sum this up. But there's an oxygen mask theory that I love talking about, especially with like my moms, the mothers in my life, my mom clients, my mom students. And it's the understanding that when you're on a plane, right, they always tell you to put the oxygen mask on yourself first and then help someone else or help your child. And a lot of moms struggle with that because they're kind of like, what? No, like my baby first. Gotta make sure my baby's good. My baby's good. And I'm like, I hear you. I hear you, but that's actually really dangerous for your child and for you. And the example that I give, and I do it in this way because the drama is necessary, is that let's say we put the oxygen mask on the child first. So the baby's good, breathing oxygen, but as soon as you do it, you pass out. Now, how is that baby going to get you and itself to safety? However, if you were to, as the adult in a situation, right? Put your mask on first. Make sure your oxygen is good. And God forbid your child was to pass out. We know for certain you are getting you and your kid to safety for various reasons, right? That is what we're talking about when we're talking about artistry, when we're talking about making sure that you are putting yourself first unapologetically. It's because you know you're going to get yourself to safety. You have to allow yourself to do that. And a lot of times we do not do that for ourselves, and we'll give and give and give our life force to other people, and they don't really know what to do with it. They don't really have the skill set to move through life that way. And it becomes very, very dangerous. So I use that theory because it's very visual, and how important it is for you to care for yourself first, and how important it is for you to prioritize yourself first. Because no one knows how to navigate your life but you. People have tons of fucking opinions, but nobody is you. No one has gone through what you've gone through. No one has your exact nuance or perspective when it comes to how to live life. No one has that but you. So if you're allowing other people to dictate and tell you what to do with your body, with your mind, with your spirit, with your art, you're gonna always end up killing off yourself and putting that person in an unnecessary situation. That's where resentment comes from. Of like, well, you told me to do this way, and I believed you. It's like you're not that person's not living your life though. At some point in time, you have to decide if you're going to live your life for yourself or if you're going to continue to live it for others. And know that if you decide to live for others, you will be inadvertently killing yourself. And if you're okay with that and that's your journey in life, then so be it. Like, I don't know what you're here to experience in your lifetime. However, some people don't know that that is the end result of living for other people. So if you're living for like your parents' approval, or you're doing things because they told you that that's what you need to do in order for them to still be a part of your life, or whatever it is, these outside things that are telling you how to live your life, you have to decide at some point as an artist, especially, that I'm going to live my life for me, which means that some people may not be along for the ride. Some people might be very upset with the decision that I made. And that's completely understandable. And they're allowed to be upset. They're allowed to have feelings. But those feelings do not have to dictate how I move through life at all. Yeah, like giving from an empty cup. Exactly. Yeah. And ego death is so essential. Yeah, it's important. That is gonna definitely feel like an ego death for sure. For sure. But I want us to just know that that's possible. It's okay to upset people. It's okay to put yourself first in your life. It's okay to be centered on yourself in your own life. I don't even know where that idea of like being self-centered like comes from. Because if you're centered on yourself, if you're focused on making sure that you are good and well, and you're doing this intentionally, not unconsciously, because that's a whole different experience that I'm not gonna get into. But if you're doing this intentionally and you're conscious of like, I am caring for myself, it is usually because you know that if you are coming from a good place and you're well rested, you'll be able to show up and care for other people as well that you love. And people that you may not even know, you may have the energy to extend that to them as well. And that's important. We need that as artists. Like that romanticizing struggle, putting ourselves last. Because all you're gonna get is people be like, yeah, she always puts herself last. She always does that. She's so self-sacrificing, you know? And like, what is that actually doing for you though? Once they've said that to you, what does that do for you? Like, did you get a boost of energy that's gonna help you get throughout your day? Did you get more money in your bank account? Is there food on your plate? You got a roof over your head because of it? You gotta start being a little bit more ruthless in how you're thinking when it comes to that. Like being self-sacrificing means what? For what? For why? You know? Yes. Some kinds of religion and culture seem to push for living for others sacrificially to be a good person, especially women. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, 100%. And in those cases, I still feel like it's a no for me, dog, which is probably why I tend to attract misfits and black sheeps and people who do not subscribe to particular um, cultural zeitgeist, right? Like they are their own people. I think it's important. Like I'm not doing all of that. I'm not self-sacrificing for anybody. No. And I can say that comfortably. And I've been able to help other people, especially moms or caretakers or educators, do the same thing. Because I think I had a conversation when I was younger with like a mom. It's like, well, you're not a mom, so you don't really understand. 100%, definitely not a mom. Heard you. Heard you. However, I have been an educator for over 15 years, and I have been a daughter all of my life. And one thing that I can say as a daughter to a single overachieving mother is that I really wish she didn't sacrifice the way that she did for me in particular at all whatsoever. To the point that I was aware that as a child, there were a lot of things that I would say I didn't need because I didn't want her to overextend. Because the truth was, I just wanted my mom to be healthy and happy. Those things that I was asking for, if it meant her having to work 10 extra hours to get me a new toy, that toy was not more valuable than my mom's well being to me. And I know people think like children don't think like that, but they really do. They may not have the verbiage to put it in that way, but they much rather see you happy and satisfied in life than to have a new toy. Even if they can't express that. As they get older and they're able to put two and two together and they have the language to understand it, they will eventually tell you, like, oh, wow, that was not something I wanted you to do at all. The thing my mother sacrificed for me to this day breaks my heart. No, that was not, I just wanted you happy. And unfortunately, that level of sacrifice caused us to have the person that we have now, where we are not in communication with each other because she feels like, oh, I've given so much of my life to you. And like, you're not doing everything I say to do exactly how I want it done. It's like, that's not how that works. Had I known that's why you were doing it, because that was the outcome that you needed, we would have been able to discuss this a long time ago that I wasn't going to do that. And that's really, really hard. But it's super important to understand that, especially as a parent, especially as a mom, because I do think that dads have a different experience. I don't know a lot of dads that deal with like guilt and stuff like that. It's a phenomenon. But like your brain changes as a mom, your chemical, like your brain literally rearranges and rewires itself when you have a kid. Like every single time you have a kid, you get like a new brain. It's so fascinating. But that need to do that for your child, your baby really loves you. They just want to see you happy and healthy. I know that that's all I ever wanted for my mom. And knowing that there were times that she wasn't because she was trying to get me something, especially something materialistic, I would never want that. Even if as a child I said that, looking back, it would have broken my heart to know that I put that type of mindset or pressure on my mom for her to negate her well-being for me. Like, that makes me feel like a shitty kid, you know? Like, I would know. I adore my mom. I love her. Despite us having the differences that we have, I think she's an incredible person. I'm very happy that she is my mom. But I also realized that the way she had to sacrifice because she felt like she had to, because she's being pressured to by all these people to be a certain type of mother to me, caused us to have the rift that we have now. And I think that goes for like anybody in any dynamic. And that's really what I do for a lot of my mom clients, a lot of my girlfriends who are mothers, remind them like, hey girl, you got a community first and foremost. Don't do that ever again. Don't ever sacrifice yourself. You call me. You call somebody. You have community. Act like it. Don't ever do that again. I never want to hear that you have to put yourself last because you felt like it was between you and your child. No, you come to me. If I'm in your life, you come to me. We figure it out. You never have to do that. And I wish that more moms had community like that so they wouldn't feel the need to do that. So they can have someone tell them that you don't have to do that to be seen by God, to sacrifice. You don't have to do that to be seen by other people, to feel like you're a good parent, for that validation. None of that's necessary. Your kid loves you regardless. Like, children are madly in love with their parents in ways that people don't really take time to understand. It's not because of what you do for them, it's because of who you are. So, a little side note for my parents out there. As a daughter for 35 years, I think I have some experience in saying I would prefer my mother to be happy and healthy more than her sacrificing for me. Hands down. I had to get to a point in my adulthood where I had to tell my mother to stop trying to sacrifice herself for my well-being because it was literally unnecessary. It was fully grown adult now. I'm able to vocalize to you, I do not want you to sacrifice yourself for me. I am okay. Even if I'm not okay, I will be okay. And I'm not in a situation where I would ever feel okay with you sacrificing yourself for me. Ever. And if your child does not do that, I don't know. I can't get into that right now. But as a mom, I want you to remember that your child just wants you happy and healthy more than anything else. That's it. All right. Now, the essay we've all been waiting for is Zen of Sports. Like I said, I really X'd out a lot of this. I X'd out a lot of this. So it's going to be quick. Zen of Sports. Really, this is about mindful movement. I don't know why she named it that, but I digress. Most Black creators are cerebral beings. We think of things we want to do but can't. Early in recovery, we next think of all the things we want to do but don't. In order to affect a real recovery, one that lasts, we need to move out of the head and into the body of work. To do this, we must first all move into the body. Again, this is a matter that requires acceptance. Creativity requires actions, and part of that action must be physical. I messed with this part because it's very, very insensitive. She's talking about Eastern meditation. It just got very not cool. Not cool at all. We're going to skip that part. In the pursuit of higher consciousness, we render ourselves unconscious in a new way. Exercise combats this spiritually induced dysfunction. So essentially, she's talking about spiritual bypassing. I'm going to just sum that part up because the way she did it, I didn't enjoy, and I think it was really insensitive and inconsiderate to cultures that I'm not trying to offend. Okay? But essentially, people tend to use spiritual practices to bypass what the fuck is going on in their lives. Period. Spiritual bypassing is not okay. When you're constantly just saying everything is positive, everything is okay, and it's okay, everything happens for a reason, you're not looking at the fact that real shit is going on in your life. Real things are happening in the world. You still have to hold space for humanity. You cannot only operate out of your divinity. To do that means that you are spiritually bypassing and you're becoming inconsiderate and insensitive to real life shit that people are going through. I can't tell you how many practitioners do this shit. And it blows my mind. It blows my mind for you to be out here spewing things from different cultures that you've learned in like a 12-hour course and then tell people that that is how they should move through life. Is insane to me. Spiritual bypassing is so dangerous, and people do not talk about the danger that it brings to the wellness community enough because unfortunately a lot of your favorite practitioners do this. They whitewash the experience and it's all love and light, and if you move through love everything will happen and light will always protect you and light. No, there are things that are just real in life. There was a conversation that Caroline missed, who is a founding mother in energy psychology, energy medicine. I do enjoy Caroline's work. I do. Donna Eden is another one. She's considered the mother of energetic medicine, which is debatable, super debatable, because they both talked about learning from indigenous cultures. So I don't know how they became mothers of. I digress. Anyway, so Caroline was talking about like you guys get so wrapped up in like the color of people. You're not really noticing divinity. Like color should not matter. It should all just be divinity. And there's that conversation of I don't see color in spirituality like where I see your soul. You know? Don't ever say that to a Black person first and foremost. And don't ever say that shit to me. I'm Black. I want you to see my color, acknowledge my heritage and what my people have gone through, because that is important to being able to bear witness to my soul. You don't get to just bypass that because you went to a retreat in a foreign country and were silent for 10 days. So now you feel hella enlightened and you can say wild shit like that. Like things like that really irritate me. Like I start to glitch when I hear conversations like that because it's such a privileged thing to say. And people who tend to say those things are white women, white men, and men in general. It's very rare where there's a Black woman or a woman of color that is saying those things. And they have to be so severely indoctrinated into that philosophy to get to that point. Don't do that shit. Just don't do it. Like, don't do that. We don't want to spiritually bypass. And we don't want to say things like, yeah, that her little sentence, I was like, girl, this is really fucking insensitive. What are we doing here? You have to have a level of intention and critical thinking to be able to learn about different cultures and how they show up in their spirituality. As someone who studies Eastern philosophy, I do study it. I think it's amazing, but I don't ever speak as an authority on it. It's not what and I've been studying it for half of my life, and I still would consider myself to be a student, not an authority, and I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that because I would hate for someone to come and study hoodoo and be like, "Oh my God, I'm an authority on hoodoo," and you're not from the culture, you're not from the bloodline. That's insane. That's insane. We should not be doing these things. I can't tell you how many practitioners I have learned from that are white in particular and have told me that they are grand masters, which is like, how are you using that language? I have a certification as a master EFT practitioner. I don't use that word because it is insensitive to my people. Like, period. Like, what are you talking about? Oh God, the word mastery in itself, like I can't even tell you how much it really irks my soul because I'm like, we're still talking about like colonization and conquering, and I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Okay. The rage, I'm telling you guys, it be sitting right here sometimes, and I have to be like, it's okay, girl. It irritates my spirit. I don't want us to move like that. As practitioners, as spiritualists, no. Give credit where credit is due. Okay. You cannot master another person's culture. It's fucking weird. I don't even know why you want to do that. Why would you want to do that? Why? For what type of validation? It's usually for some type of capitalistic gain, right? I have my certification because I had to get certified in order for people to pay me for the skill set I already had. That's why I have those certifications. But I teach not because of those certifications. I teach because I have literally been studying this, been digesting it, been transforming, been doing alchemizing, all these things so that I can share with other people because I feel like people need the information, which is why I do these group EFT sessions every week. EFT 101 on a lower basis is like 175 a session for 30 minutes. Like minimum. That's like bottom of the barrel. I know people are charging triple the amount of that because they can, because they have a certification in it. Right? And that's fine. Do what you want to do. Charge what you want to charge, by the way, because you know what your value is. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I hope that it's not how that's coming off. However, what I'm saying is there's people who will do a weekend training, right? Or do their 200 hours for yoga here from a company that's based in America and then now be certified to teach this ancestral technology that comes from ancient Kemet in India. But the people who have studied it amongst gurus who have lived their entire life in this understanding, in this lifestyle, will come here and be discredited because they didn't go and get it from Yoga Alliance. It does not make sense. It just shows you how capitalistic we are being and how we are choosing to spiritually bypass real shit. That will never happen here. I don't spiritually bypass, and I will call people out if I feel like they're doing it because I don't have time for it. There's no space. I have absolutely no tolerance for spiritual bypassing. None whatsoever. None. No grace for it. None. You will get called out. And depending on how you behave, you will get chewed up. That just depends on the person. But I just think it's important for us to remember that nuance is necessary. Okay. Um, Yeah, yeah, yeah. White folks, 100%. We are oftentimes very blind. We have to learn. We are blind before we can even try to see. It's so thick. No, 100% Jack, for sure, for sure. And I feel like there's a way to go about it. I don't know because I'm not a white person. So this for me, I'm not blind to a lot of things. I don't have a choice because if I am blind to it, it can cause me to lose my life. I don't really have that luxury of having the privilege to be blind to certain things. So I don't fully understand that. But I know there was like a thread where this white man was asking people to be kind to people who are magma and realize MAGA. See, I don't even know the fucking word because I really just don't even deal with Trump and his people at all. It's time for it. People who are MAGA and they're now realizing like, hey, maybe this is not the best thing to be. Maybe this is inhumane or disgusting. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe this is fucked up. They're now coming to the light and that we should have grace for them and be kind to them as they're reorienting themselves back into society and into humanity. Because I feel like you have to lose your sense of humanity to support MAGA. Like you're no longer operating as a human being. You're doing some zombie shit, right? And people in the comments were chewing him up. And he's just like, I don't understand. I'm asking for grace. I'm asking for peace right now. And I just feel like it's not a spiritual way to go about this. And I'm like, I really feel like people don't understand what spirituality is. Because it can get real. Spiritual warfare is a real thing. Okay. It can get real nasty. It can get real ugly. But to ask people to be patient when the things that they were doing prior to were causing people to die, to have families split apart is insane. Right. But it kind of is the point like, well, what do you do? Because I guess they do need time to figure their shit out. And in that, we're supposed to do what? As everyone else that has had to deal with their decisions and the harm it brought. It's a weird space to be in. But I agree. Like, the level of privilege has caused a lot of people to disassociate. A lot. And I say that for white people and for men as a system. Because there's another thread, that's not a thread, a TikTok going around where men are realizing that women can feel emotion when they're thinking about something that happened in the past. And apparently that's not a thing for men, which I was really surprised to find out. A lot of men are like, they can think about something that happened in the past, even if it was like emotionally charged, and it's like, oh, I just thought about it. The emotion is not attached to it. Whereas for women, the emotion is attached to it, no matter how far along ago it is. And men are like literally asking like their partners or their sisters or their moms, and their moms are like, yeah. And they're like, wow, what? You feel the emotion like it just happened? And everybody's like, yes. And men are super shocked because like, this is crazy. How are y'all functioning like this? And it's just like, well, what do we do with that information? Now that you've come to realize something that we've been living with our entire lives, what do we do? What do we do with the information? And I always hit a wall there because I don't know. That's where my level of activism, I pass the torch because I don't know. I don't have the patience for it or the understanding. So there's that. But after we got past that sentence, returning to the notion of ourselves as spiritual radio sets, we need enough energy to raise a strong signal. This is where walking comes in, or mindful movement. Just plug in mindful movement. What we are after here is a moving meditation. This means one where the act of motion puts us into the now and helps us to stop spinning. 20 minutes a day is sufficient. The object is to stretch your mind more than your body, so there doesn't need to be an emphasis on fitness, although eventually fitness is a likely result, right? The goal is to connect to a world outside of us, to lose the obsessive self focus of self exploration and simply explore. One quickly note that when the mind is focused on other, the self often comes into a far more accurate focus. So essentially, she tells some different stories about how people have tried different things like walking mindfully or riding horses or becoming a swimmer, becoming a bicyclist, and how doing all those things allowed them to connect the mind to the body because they needed to move the body mindfully, really moving with the intention of getting out of the head and moving that energy. And that could be anything. That could be yoga, that could be Pilates, it could be whatever you want to do. Walking tends to be the method that most people will suggest because it tends to be decently accessible, right? Just walking around your neighborhood, or even if you can't walk around your neighborhood, maybe walking around the house or whatever. That's what she was talking about, and how important it is to do that to connect the mind to the body. And I agree. Very, very important to move your body every single day intentionally. Not just to get up to go to the bathroom or to go get something to eat, but to get outside, get some fresh air if it's possible for you. But at minimum, being able to move the body, stretch the body. Remember that you have this entire vessel to help you process big emotions and experiences. I cannot tell you how important it is to move your body. I, every day, do my best to move my body at minimum 20 minutes a day. But for the most part, I move my body for more than an hour. And that's a mix of restorative yoga, Pilates, biking, walking. These are things that I do pretty much on a daily basis to ensure that my body is getting the motion that it needs. And I do that for my energetic hygiene. When I don't do that, everything is stuck up here. I start to get really anxious. I start to get very short tempered. I start to feel like I'm spiraling. I don't have the tools or the space to process because I don't, because everything is living here. When we're really anxious, everything is living here. When we feel really heavy and depressed, everything's living in the body. But when you connect the two and you let the energy run through the mind and body, you are able to fully use your vessel in the way it was intended, which is to let the emotion or the experience come through the body, leave any information that is necessary for you to evolve, and then let the rest of it go out. But if we're not moving our body intentionally, we're not letting that rest of that information leave the body, and then we're having this experiences that we have where we are harming ourselves, right? Where we are getting to dark spaces in our minds, heavy spaces in our minds, where we are unable to process our emotions, or we start thinking the worst case scenarios, or our bodies are super tense. These are all side effects of us not moving our body mindfully. So however you can do it, I want you to begin moving your body. That's super important. Okay. Um, as an artist, I told you, like, I like literally all of this is just crossed out. Oh my goodness. As an artist, mindful movement offers the added benefit of sensory saturation. Things do not whiz by, we really see them. In a sense, insights follow from sight. We feel the well and later tap it more easily. This is also her speaking to changing your environment when you can. So if you're someone that can't maybe walk in their neighborhood, maybe you have to go and travel somewhere, go to a hiking path or to a park to just take in nature, take in the sounds, really tap into your five senses to the best of your ability, whatever ones you have access to. So your ability to see, hear, taste, touch, feel. Doing those things allows us to have a sensual experience. And it's really important for us to do that as artists because we get to take in texture, we get to take in how sound makes us feel and how the body processes all these things. Because that, again, those are all five ways you can get information. And that information is really helpful in your artistic journey. Okay. All right. On to the last essay, and then we're doing our EFT session. Okay. Building your artist's altar. Morning pages are meditation, a practice that brings you to your creativity and your creator God. In order to stay easily and happily creative, we need to stay spiritually centered. This is easier to do if we allow ourselves centering rituals. It is important that we devise these ourselves from the elements that feel holy and happy to us. Many Block creatives grew up in small religious homes. For us to stay happily and easily creative, we need to heal from this, becoming spiritually centered through creative rituals of our own. A spiritual room or even a spiritual corner is an excellent way to do this. This haven can be a corner of a room, a nook under the stairs, even a window ledge. It is a reminder and an acknowledgement of the fact that our creator unfolds our creativity. Fill it with things that make you happy. Remember that your artist is fed by images. We need to unlearn our old notion that spirituality and sensuality don't mix. An artist's altar should be a sensory experience. We are meant to celebrate the good things of this earth. Pretty leaves, rocks, candles, sea treasures, all these remind us of our creator. Small rituals, self-devised, are good for the soul. Burning incense while reading affirmations or writing them, lighting a candle, dancing to drum music, holding a smooth rock and listening to an ancestral chant. All of these tactile, physical techniques reinforce spiritual growth. Okay? Remember, the artist child speaks the language of the soul, music, dance, scent, shells. Your artist's altar your artist's altar to the creator should be fun to look at, even silly. Remember how much little kids love gaudy stuff. So your artist's little kid, do the gaudy things, okay? Here, I want to talk about the creative method that I created called the CPR method. And the CPR method is create to connect, praise on purpose, recover to resonate. Doing these three things a day will allow you to stay in connection to your creativity and to your source of divinity. So with Create to Connect, what you're doing is you're doing something creative every day. I always suggest doing this method in the morning. You can do it pretty much any time. Eventually it becomes a lifestyle. I'm constantly flowing through the CPR method now because I've been doing it for over a decade, right? But when you're doing Create to Connect, think of the things you did as a child, things that you really enjoyed, and see how you can bring those to the forefront in your adult life. So if you really loved coloring when you were a kid, get an adult coloring book and spend some time in the morning for 5 minutes just coloring a page, right? They even have apps where you can do it, but I prefer you to do it, manually if you can. If you love to listen to music when you were younger, then Put on a good playlist, have these things ready to go. Find ways to create. There are also mundane ways to create too. Sometimes it's styling your bed and making sure that your bed is nicely neat, is nicely made. That's also a form of creativity. Making your favorite morning drink is a form of creativity. It doesn't have to be so rigid. The point is that you are getting up and you are creating something every single day because that connects you to your power source. It connects you to your divinity and your creativity. Then you go to praise on purpose, and praise is gratitude infused with joy. Sometimes we get to the gratitude section of life and we just say like, I am so grateful for my breath. I am so grateful for my home. I and the essence is gone. You're just doing it on autopilot because you want to seem like you're a grateful person, or you want to remember that you can be grateful. But when you infuse joy into it, you make the experience lively. It becomes this living, breathing experience for you to have. So praising on purpose can look like really thinking and sitting with the idea of who you are grateful for. It should bring and invoke emotion in you. Letting them know, calling them, letting them know that you're grateful for them is a great way to do that too, right? For me, I have a praise playlist that when I put it on, these are songs that instantly get me to that space where I'm like, yes to me being alive. Yes. Yes to me being alive. I'm breathing. It opens my mind up because music does that for me. Music is a conduit for me. So that could be another way to do that. Journaling and writing down things that you're grateful for, envisioning what that looks like is a great way. I have a tapping um, audio on my podcast for gratitude that literally helps you tap on the tapping points and call in gratitude and remembering how grateful you can be and how good it feels to be grateful is one of my top audios that people listen to. It's really great. I love, 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 love that audio. There are different ways to do it. Then you have recover to resonate. This is where we are moving our body intentionally. So that sense of recovery can be that 20 minutes of yoga or Pilates or working out or walking, whatever it is. Sometimes it could just be tapping because is included as movement because it moves the energy in the body. Whatever it is, you're spending some time moving. And if you're doing those three things every day, you are tapping into that CPR method. You're resuscitating your spiritual and your creative well being. And I want to share that with you all in terms of building your artist's altar because she talks about it from like that physical standpoint of having something, but you may not have the space in your home to do that, right? Depending on, especially if you live in like a religious home, maybe it's like, oh, I can't really do that because people gonna start asking me questions, start calling me demonic. I don't got time for that. Understandable. But you are a living altar, you yourself, and you are an offering, you yourself. So if you are taking good care of yourself, if you're loving on yourself, if you're nurturing your well being, that also counts as an offering. It also counts as you being an altar, which is why it's so important to really care for your vessel, right? Making sure that your physical hygiene, your emotional hygiene, your spiritual hygiene is on point because you are an altar. And altars deserve to have that level of cleanliness because it does keep us close to source. So either way you put it, these are some options for you to do that. My entire apartment is an altar. I have an altar for finances. I have an altar for my ancestors. I have a beauty altar. When you come in my space, it is a sanctuary, which is why I don't show a lot of it because it's very personal to me. It's very spiritual to me. People who are allowed to come and be in my space, they instantly feel the energy when they come to the threshold. You can see them relax. It's an instantaneous thing. Anyone's been in my home will tell you that. Like they love being here because the vibe is just what it is. Because I know that I am an altar. I know that I'm an offering, and I also know that my space is a sanctuary. That this is an altar as well, and I do my best to take care of it because it's one of those places in the world where I can come here and I could just be all of who I am. Messy, loud, all the things, all the aspects of me are honored here, and there's space for it. And I want you guys to have that for yourself too. And if you can't have it in your physical space, you could do it with the things you do for your body. Let me know if that makes sense, okay? Yes, I feel a lot of disassociation is this connection from heart, soul, and body, and the system brings us up to do that. Agreed. Yeah. A lot of people have disassociated. 100%. A lot of groups of people have done that. 100%. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But I will say too, with you in particular, Jack, your existence is really healing for a lot of people, especially for Black women, because it shows us that these things are possible, that people are willing to evolve and grow and heal on their own accord, where we don't have to teach or guide them, that they understand our humanity enough to do the work on their own. And that's really important too. You know, it's not to say that it's everyone. And most times I don't clarify that because I feel like it's not necessary. Like if you think that that's what I'm saying, then I don't know how you got there. But I do want to just take the point out to say that it's not everybody. You know, it's not all white people, but all white people do benefit from it, whether they want to or not. Right? It's not all men, but men do benefit from the patriarchy and from, sexism, whether they want to benefit from it or not. It's important to know what it is that you're willing to do with your privilege for the people that do not have access to it. And if you're strong on doing what needs to be done, then you are a part of the solution, and that's amazing. And if you're not, you should be figuring out how to get there. Okay? Yeah, yeah, yes, yes. Thank you, Jack. Okay. I don't know about you, but I feel like a little funky in my energy. Sometimes this book be pissing me off. Sometimes I get like, girl, what in the world is going on? However, I do think that what was explored is really helpful in us understanding our sense of freedom when it comes to our creativity. Very important. Yes, my space is just how you describe yours. It is so special to me. I don't share with everyone. Yeah. Like, you're not just coming over to come over. What? That's crazy. No. The only people that have like all access to my space are children. Children are wonderful. Like all the time. They're wonderful. Like my nieces come over, my nephew literally is a chaos agent. But even when he comes in, he'll slow down and be like, okay. But normally he's like tossing things over, like, oh, I'm about to throw this. Like he doesn't even care. But when he comes up here, he's just like, all right, look out the window. All right, let me go put her stuff. He's very you can see the shift in how people move in the space. And I love that. I love that I have a space that can do that for people. I think that's amazing. And I also love that I can come home to this. Sometimes when I'm going to work and I come back and I'm like, I have just been around other people for too long. It's nice to know that as soon as I walk through my threshold, it feels like all that just goes behind me. Like I can just shed it and move forward. We all need spaces like that. So important. Yes. Let me see. Yes, there's no way I would have gotten through this book without you. Ah, see ya! I love you so much. Yes, her for today's chapter. Yeah, no, this book is like I told you I thugged it out to get this book done. This was true determination and the ability to use somatic tools to help me move through it. This book is not an easy book to get through. The framework is decent. A 12-week framework is definitely decent. But a lot of times it's the nuance. I think people don't talk about that you're not paying attention to the fact that this is a fairly privileged white woman writing this book. Like if you are holding that at the forefront of your mind, I don't know if it makes it easier to get through, but when things come up where you're like, what? What's going on? You're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, no. Right. Right. I forget. We have a different lens on life. I would love to explore these themes through a different lens. I guess technically I did do that. Now I'm thinking about it, but like to be able to write it out. Well, I guess I did do that too. I don't know. Sometimes you realize you do things that you didn't realize it. I guess my essays do that for me. But I feel like putting that together and allowing people to move through the artist way in that way would be really great. Because there are good things here. I just think the nuance is interesting. Sometimes like what's going on here? How did we get here? But I digress. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Sip this. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, yeah. There were some essays. There's some chapters where I'm like, oh, yikes. But first off, before we get into EFT, y'all, one more week and we're done. We're done. Like, how exciting is that? Mind you, it's the week right before the new year. I mean, I literally love this for us. I'm so excited because we're going to move into 2026 with this energy. this understanding of who we are as artists and the ebbing and the flowing that comes with it, the necessities that come with it. I just, I'm so proud of us. I'm so excited. I'm so, 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 so excited. And it's so funny because the timing is truly perfect because we took breaks, you know? So it's just like, what a great way to wrap up the end of 2025. I'm so excited I get to do it with y'all. We're gonna have such a good time. It'll definitely feel more celebratory next week. But I was just thinking about how cool that is, how it just worked itself out. And week 12 is, I don't even know the name of it, y'all. Let me look it up. Recovering a sense of faith, week 12. Ah, I'm so excited. It's gonna be so much fun. I just wanted to put that out there. I'm so proud of us. So proud of us. I was thinking about it too in the terms of like how I've been putting out content. I have been writing consecutively for more than 12 weeks, every week. So proud of myself. Didn't even realize that that's what I was doing, but I was doing that, going live for more than 12 weeks. Even posting content on TikTok consistently every week. These are things that I struggled with. And now I've unlocked this new level to life, and I'm very excited to see where it's going to take me and how that exploration is going to look. I'm so excited. It came out perfectly with occasional week breaks. Yeah, yeah. Because I feel like if we had powered through, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it, honestly. I feel like breaks are needed. And I feel that is something that when you work with me, like on a one on one, or obviously in a group setting too, you'll see it too. There's always rest built into it. I never just go through it. So even with my one-on-one clients, if we're working together in a container for a month, there is 1 week where we are resting. We're not like we're resting. Go play, go dance, go do something. But it's so important to have rest built into your structure, and you got to do that from the beginning. It's harder to inject rest once you've created a framework. Do it while creating the framework. Allow yourself time to rest and relax and trust in that. Trust that you'll get to where you need to be. And when you get there, you'll be well rested enough to really appreciate all the beauty that is there waiting for you. Very important to rest. Word to the nap bishop. Rest. Okay. All right. We're going to do an EFT session. We're doing 2 rounds. We have a negative round, a positive round. Very excited. For recovering a sense of autonomy. The negative round is naming what's been running the show, like underneath subconsciously, things that we've been saying or we may have heard or we may be thinking about when it comes to our creativity and our freedom. And then the positive round will be embodying freedom without apology. Okay. I'm very excited for this. If you've never tapped me before, very simple. We're going to go over the basics really quickly. For people who have tapped me before, go ahead and drink some water. I have my coconut water right here. Okay. Drink some water, open yourself up so we can tap together, okay? So, for people who are new to tapping, tapping is emotional freedom techniques, and it is the art of tapping on acupuncture points along the body. And in doing so, we're having a conversation, excuse me, with the body, telling the body what is that we need to either let go of or whatever it is that we need to bring into the system. We also are rewiring our neural pathways so that we can begin to live in a new reality that makes more sense to us while connecting the mind to the body so that we have full access to our power. Okay, very important for us to do that. It's a very simple technique. There are 10 tapping points that I'll go over in a few. Some ways that you can tap. You can tap traditionally by lightly tapping one finger, all the fingers, doesn't matter. You can pulse where you keep your hand to the body. You can rub. You can hover for those that are very sensitive to energy. I always suggest this. And for those who have limited mobility, you can envision yourself tapping in these spaces. It requires more effort mentally, but it is definitely doable and it does still tap into your energy highways, the meridians that run within the body and around the body, creating our aura. Okay? So when you're tapping on the points, you might notice that one tapping point feels really good. If that feels really nourishing to you and you're getting a lot of relief from there, I say stay there. I call that your sweet spot. Let that be what you need to do. Trust your body first and foremost. I'm here to guide you, not to control your experience. So if you are tapping and it feels good to stay here, it's my sweet spot, do it. I want you to trust your body more than you trust me, always. Always, always, always trust your intuition. Okay. And I'm just here as a guide. But I want you to always trust what your body needs. Your body will tell you what it wants. Make sure that you're listening. Okay. Tapping points. Between the pinky knuckle and the wrist bones are side of hand. On either side, doesn't matter. You're at the top of head where the crown chakra would be. They're at the start of the brow. You would trace that brow point to the side of the eye, still tapping on the bone, the ocular bone. Trace the ocular bone underneath the eye. Tapping here, underneath and above the top lip. And the crease of our chin. Collarbone, you're going to find the bone underneath the collarbone. You're going to tap there. That soft, fleshy area. You bring it to the middle. You'll tap on a point here. You'll feel it. And then underneath the arm, at the bottom of your armpit, or if you wear a bra, it would be where your bra strap is. You would tap there. Okay, those are our tapping points. You don't have to remember them. You just have to watch me or listen to me and know when to tap. I also want you to use your voice because your voice is medicine. It's going to allow you to continue that connection between the mind and the body. Always use your voice. Do I use a certain tonality to speak so that it can help tap into the subconscious mind? I absolutely do. But there's nothing more powerful than your voice when it comes to you healing your body. Okay? All right. You might notice that when you're tapping, you might get a little sleepy or you feel energized. You might yawn, tear up, burp. There are different ways that the body is going to show you that the energy is moving because we're closing gaps. Whatever that is, let it be. Don't try to suppress it. Allow it to be what it is, okay? And trust that everything is fine. And if you notice that nothing is happening, it just could mean that you need to tap a little bit more. You might be a little bit too detached from your body, and that's okay because we all have to do what we have to do to survive. But tapping helps us to become more in tune and more sensitive to our body. So do understand that you will become a more sensitive person for sure. For sure. Okay? All right. We're going to start with negative round. Please take a sip of water. Okay. Oh my God. When did we start? I don't know. When did we start? I think we started for fall. So we started in September? I think we started for like the fall equinox. I want to say September. I'm going to say September. I'm pretty sure it was September. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was September. All right. Ready? Let's start. Side of hand, lightly tap, pulse, rub or hover. Take a nice deep inhale, breathing in to lower belly, expanding to lower back, and exhale, letting go, softening the shoulders, relaxing the face, and repeating after me. Okay. Even though my body and my art suffer when I stop moving with intention, I love and honor myself. Top of the head. I've been living in rhythms that were never designed for my nervous system or my creativity. Brow. I learned to confuse exhaustion with productivity and stagnation with rest. Side of the eye. I have felt pressure to keep proving that I am doing enough instead of feeling nourished by what I do. Under the eye. I have absorbed definitions of this. Excuse me. I have absorbed definitions of success that demand urgency, visibility, and sacrifice at the expense of my body. Under the nose. I have treated rest as avoidance and movement as something I must earn. Chin. I have felt guilt for slowing down and shame for wanting more ease. Collarbone. I have been afraid that choosing myself would cost me momentum, money, meaning, or my people. Heart. I have tied my worth to output and my safety to overextension. Under the arm. I have trapped myself between needing financial stability and wanting to protect my relationship with art. All right. I'll take a nice deep inhale, breathing in. On the exhale, open the mouth, let go, and soften the shoulders. And then take a sip of water. And we're into our positive round. Okay? D'Angelo is playing in the background, and I love it. Okay. Positive round. Start tapping. Repeat after me. I choose a relationship with my body and my art that is rooted in presence, nourishment, and sovereignty. Top of the head. My nervous system recognizes rhythms that support me in being clear in what I want and sustaining my pleasure. Brow. Mindful movement reconnects me to myself and restores my trust in my own timing. Side of the eye. I define success in ways that honor my body, my values, and my capacity. Under the eye. Slowing down gives me access to deeper creativity so I can make clearer decisions and feel more satisfied. Under the nose. I move through my days with intention, awareness, and deep, unwavering respect for my energy. Chin. I allow rest that replenishes me and movement that keeps my spirit happy. Collarbone. Financial literacy strengthens my autonomy and expands my freedom with time and choice. Heart. My art thrives when it is loved, protected, and supported by me, my God, and my community. Underneath the arms, ritual keeps me connected to my artistry, my body, and my divine source. and it is a non-negotiable. I want you to place your hands over your heart space. Take a nice deep inhale, breathing into the heart. Slow exhale, release through the mouth. Just sitting in this moment, taking in the fact that you've been spending 11 weeks diving into your artistry, redefining what it means to be an artist, what it means to share your work, what it means to live as an artist, connecting the mind and the body through somatic therapies, through deep, intentional, loving conversation, through writing and journaling and documenting your life. How incredible is that? You are incredible. And I am absolutely in awe of your dedication to yourself. Nice deep inhale, breathing in. Slow exhale, letting go. Opening your eyes, coming back to the space. Let me know how you feel before we head out. Like I said, next week is our last week. So exciting. Yay, us. So next week, Recovery Sense of Faith, kind of an end celebration. I'm going to be dropping my after party notes for week 9 and 10 and 11 soon. It's also holiday season, so bear with me. And I was telling Jack earlier, I really want to make sure that the quality is what I need it to be, and it requires more of my brain power because I have more shit to do right now. So, but they're going to come out. We're going to talk about the neuroscience of everything. I'm so excited. Sometimes it can be very dense, so that's what I'm editing. Of like, I love this, and I want you guys to love it too, but I gotta convey it in a way that's like, okay, this is cool. So I'll be doing that, working on that. And then we will be taking a bit of a break. The Wolf full moon is in January. It's January 3rd. So I don't know, I might hop on live and do something with you guys. Maybe we'll do like some type of reading or meditation together. I'll see. If not, we'll definitely be reconvening towards the end of January. And the intention is that we'll start working on the Lotus Life deck together, and having that experience and talking about what it means to work with it. We'll see. I'm not sure if I'm going to make that a live or if I make that a private thing yet. It hasn't really been clarified to me by source. So once it's clarified, I can let y'all know. Um, and then, continue to expect essays from me and all that good stuff on my Substack. And I just love you so much for being here with me on this journey. Thank you so much. Wow, that hit so hard. Yay! I've been sick, but just realized I'm still pushing myself way too fast. I have to rest and just honor where I am right now. Thank you, Lotus, and everyone. Yay! I'm so happy. Yes, rest, get some water, chill out. I have been not only have I been dealing with the lupus flares, but the integration process. We went from like the 12/12 portal, then we have the 12/21 portal, which is happening now, right? Along with the solstice. And then we just had like the last full moon, new moon, full moon, new moon on the 19th. There's a shit ton of energy that we're processing. So if you're someone who's sensitive to energy, like rest. This entire week, I didn't do anything but sleep and focus on my hydration. I didn't even journal this week. I know. Chaotic. Or workout. I just did like the absolute bare minimum with that because my focus was like, I need to be hydrated. Like I felt like I was dying of thirst. And it just requires so much energy for me to focus in on that. And I'm like, that's just where I'm focusing my energy at. That and eating nourishing foods is all that I focused in on. And I'm okay with my decision that I made because the amount of information that I have to process energetically through my aura, through my spirit, in my mind, in my body, like I could not take on what I normally do and that as well. It was just too fucking much. I just wasn't gonna do it. Like, no, I don't have this big energy burst coming through yet. I'm sure once I get past the winter solstice, there'll be like this shoot. But right now I'm in that plateau mode and I'm just going to enjoy being here or resting. So if you feel like that's where you're at rest, drink your water, chill out, watch a movie. We're winding down. I know that media tries to tell us that we need to be finishing off strong and pushing through the last few days and like, what do you want to say that you did for your 2025? Did you If all you did was make it through to 2026, baby, that's fine. Like, that's also okay. It doesn't have to be something so overtly grand. Like, you know, I'm spending a lot of time with my family. I have a lot of kids in my life. They require a lot of energy. I have toddlers, okay? Toddlers, multiple. Baby, I need all energy. I gotta reserve what I can. So I say a lot to say the writing is coming. Lots of fun things. Very excited. Very, very excited. I cannot wait to start pushing things out. But until then, I'm gonna be sleeping and resting. And I appreciate everyone who's on the journey with me, who respects my artistic journey and what it takes for me to be an artist and a writer because it takes a lot. And I appreciate it. And I hope that it inspires you to do the same for yourself. Okay? Let's see. Yeah, dying of thirst too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was so thirsty this week. I'm like, what's going on? The insight is so valuable to me. Yes, I'm so happy, Jack. Yes. If all you did was make it through, you made it through. That's important too. Yeah. My nephew, yes. I gotta go see him because he definitely will start calling me. So I need to go do that. But until then, I love you. Be well, be safe, stay hydrated, and I will see you for week 12 next Sunday around like 12:20. It might be 12:30. It might be 12:30 because I'll be traveling back. I'm going away for the holiday. So it might be 12:30. But I will do my best to put the information out there beforehand so you guys have time to like save it to the calendar and stuff like that. Okay? I love you guys so much. Bye, see ya. Bye, Jack. Love you, love you. Bye.